top 10 Nicolas Cage movies. Mac made a list of 15. Goo made a list of 15. We took those, smushed them together, and now we have ourselves a top 10.
I was pretty hypocritical in the way I weighed how good Cage was to how good the movie was throughout.
Right.
This whole
So
list.
let me just start it off here with number 10, which is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
This was my 13th, your 11, and my note is that he's in the movie.
Yeah. My note was sometimes you forget he's in the movie, so I couldn't put this that high, but it might be the best movie on the list.
Right. It's an amazing movie. It's just he's not the reason for it.
Yeah, and honestly, out of all of those Spider-Man versions, he has like the least amount of lines.
At number 9 is 1987's Moonstruck. He plays Ronnie Camarati, and I had this at number 8.
Yeah, I still haven't seen this, so I didn't omit it, though. I put it at the end of my list because I do realize it deserves to be up there. I got to see this soon. There's 3, maybe all 3 have made the top 10, but there's 3 Cage movies that I just have to see, and I haven't.
Yeah, because everyone always talks about 1997 being a huge Cage year. 87, also a huge Cage year. That was really a breakout year for Cage, and this is one of those movies.
Yeah, is that the same year as Raising Arizona, too?
Well, yes, it is.
Ooh.
Mac at number 8. Not that movie. It is 2023's Renfield. He plays Dracula. I had this at 9. You had this at 8. And I do think that he is a standout in this movie. It's just not his movie.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment. Although we're going to this movie for him, so it is and it isn't. You know what I mean?
Also, recency bias.
I sort of tiered my list as well, and so I had Renfield at 8 and National Treasure at 9 in a tier of themselves because I didn't really know how to evaluate them against the rest of Cage's movies.
Mac at number 7 is 1987's Raising Arizona, H.I. McDonough. We both had it at 7. Coen Brothers, this movie made him a star, and this ranked 31st on AFI's 100 Greatest Comedies.
I think I have to watch this movie again. I felt like this was the one movie on my list at 7. I felt like, man, this is probably too low. I think if I watched it again, I might have had it a couple spots higher, honestly.
Same. I feel like if I just watched this, it'd be number 1 because we're recency bias, boys.
Well,
whatever we just watched, that's the best.
Keith's the worst at that. I think we're getting better at it, but Keith's always like immediately best movie I've ever seen.
At number 6 is 1995's Leaving Las Vegas, Ben Sanderson. I had it at 4. You had it at 6. He won an Academy Award for this movie.
Yeah, that's my note here, Goo, is who cares where I put it? He got the recognition he needed. It's not nearly my favorite Nick Cage movie. It is a very good movie.
But also, so he is so good in this. He gets an award for this to the point of he made a decade of pure shit movies and it doesn't matter. You know he's a good actor because he can do this.
Right. Yeah. It's just, there's a good chance I never watch that movie again. So how high can it really be on my list?
At number 5, and we've already mentioned, not being the star of a movie, but a huge standout, 2010's Kick-Ass, Damon McCready / Big Daddy.
I had this number 2 on my list. I might be the world's biggest Kick-Ass fan. I fucking love that movie. He's also phenomenal in it. He's in it less than he is in Renfield, but much more than he is in Spider-Verse. So that I didn't really know where to draw the line there. But he is phenomenal in what we get. And I also attribute some of the Hit Girl stuff to him. So
well, I was going to say, if you take him and Hit Girl out of this movie, it kind of stinks.
It's okay. It's solid. But they obviously
with them in it,
they put it like 4 levels up.
With them in it, it's like 37, 38 dogs.
I think I might have it as a 40 dog movie.
Without them, it's below 30.
It's probably
like around the equator.
A 30, 32 for me. I'm guessing.
Mac, are you ready for this?
Yeah, let's see it.
We've got a 4-way tie for 1.
Come on. So this is what you were texting me about.
I texted Mac ahead of time.
I was so confused.
And I said, this is the most Mac and Goo list of all time. Because for a top 10 Nicolas Cage countdown, we have a Mount Rushmore.
It's incredible. So the Mount Rushmore all have the exact same
The exact
number and
same
average.
tally, the
Wow,
exact same average.
that's
Let's
crazy.
go ahead and start it off with 1997's Con Air. Cameron Poe, I had it at 2, you had it at 4. And I think, to me, this is the second most Nick Cageiest movie possible.
This just doesn't make my cock hard the way The Rock does. So I fucking love Con Air. I really like it, but I like it less than Con Air. So I had to bump it down a little bit.
So speaking of The Rock, also at number 1, 1996 is The Rock, Stanley Goodspeed. You had it at 1, I had it at 5, Michael Bay. And this really kicks off the Cage action star era.
This is, without a doubt, number 1 with a bullet, my favorite Nick Cage movie of all time. And it's also the Cage movie I've seen most. And this is the Cage that I prefer, too. So in Con Air, he's this beefy, godlike, stature. Yeah. That I prefer him to be the nerdy, sort of national treasure type of character, which is what he is in The Rock. And the dynamic between him and Connery in this movie is so fucking good.
Whereas my favorite Cage would be in Face Off, 1997, Castor Troy, and just the performance here. This is the most outlandish thing, story-wise and then performance-wise, I think I've ever seen.
I wonder if I'm a little lower on this than most. So I had this at 5, and I might be lower on this than most people on the planet. I think I like Cage as a good guy, as the lovable good guy over like the
No, I like him trying to be the bad guy, but you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is this?
I get, like, I bet a lot of people would even have Face Off number 1, but it's not up at the top for me.
I'd like to take his face off.
I have it at number 1.
Oh, this is your 1?
That's my number 1. You're number 5. Do the math.
Okay. All right, yeah. Well,
and also, technically, it's both of our number 1. It's tied for number 1 with 4 other movies, with 3 other movies.
Yeah. Wow.
And then also tied at number 1, you had it 3, I had it 3, and that is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. He plays himself, and it's this is just a delight from start to finish. It really is. And then also him and Pedro Pascal, amazing together.
Yeah, when I put the list together, the first 3 I put down were this, Kick-Ass, and The Rock.
Yeah.
For 3 different reasons. So if you look at that for my top 3, it's Cage's best supporting role, Cage's best like nerd role, and then in this, the funniest we've ever seen Cage. Although Redfield's kind of close. Redfield was that funny.
Yeah.
The Cage stuff anyways. But he is just completely unleashed in this movie. And I don't know how to just like, actually, the best way to say how good this movie is, Goo, is we have said more or less it might be the best Cage movie of all time. Also,
we made the list last year, best performance of playing yourself in a movie.
Yeah, it's fucking really good. It's hysterical.
Everyone buys in. That's the whole thing, is everyone in this movie buys in.
Right. And it's the funniest Cage movie. For sure. It's not even close.
Couple of honorable mentions. We usually do it before the number 1, but we had 4 of them, so I didn't know what to do here. I didn't know what the protocol was. But 2021's Pig, 1999's Bringing Out the Dead, 2018's Mandy, the 2000s, the entire National Treasure franchise, and 2006's Wicker Man.
I had Wicker Man at number 10 on my list. I snuck it in there. And Goo, this movie has run the whole gamut in my mind. When I first saw that movie, I thought it was one of the worst movies ever made. And that might still be true. It probably is. But I have now, I unironically watched it for humor, I don't know, 15, 20 times. And legitimately, the first like 45 minutes of that movie is a very good setup for like a horror mystery movie. And then it devolves from there into something entirely different. But the last like 30 minutes of Cage in that movie are fucking hysterical. So fucking good. I like The Wicker Man, I guess, is one of my guilty pleasures. So I love that movie. I love that movie, and it's fucking terrible.
Oh, no, not the beast! Not the beast! Ah! Open my eyes! My eyes! Ah! Ah!
When he cold cocks the woman at the front desk
wearing a bear outfit.
I saw that in theaters
with our lawyer.
who, by the way, might be, if he was doing this list, National Treasure would be number one.
He loves National Treasure more than anybody else.